Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle. And then also you can, for Raider fans, you can reach myself and Ryan Holmes. Ryan Holmes is at RHOLM22. But we're here to talk about Trojans and what's going on with them right now in the kind of like the semi-off season because they have one more bowl game coming up. Looks like they might be going to San Diego to face Clemson, but we won't know till Sunday. So we get the full slate of what's going on there, and then we'll talk about a bunch of different things in this podcast. And one of those things is your comments. So let's start off with my man Walter Clark 382. Leonard was talking about Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard was not going to coach this year because he was coming off of a surgery and wanted to get healthy. I mean, that's a possibility. He went from interim head coach and now he's an analyst. He was an analyst with Illinois, so we're just obviously USC fans he's one of the favorites to take the job that was vacated by the firing of Alex Grinch. And can we stop throwing dirt on LR's grave? He took a dormant program and he's rebuilding it. And then also he said, so you really think Riley doesn't want to fix the problems and he likes to lose? So no, I think he's very competitive. I think he wants to win. I would like to see him make this move right after the Tulane loss last year. That would have been, I think that'd have been the perfect time to do it. I'm not throwing dirt on his grave, I think, but it is a moment in his career that he's never been in before, right? So this has been a situation for him where he is not faced this kind of losing and it's kind of like the sky is falling type deal in his career. So we got to see if that's something that he can overcome and that he can handle. I mean, it's a big deal for him to be able to do that. And I just think, I don't know. We'll get to the DC rumors in a second, the defensive coordinator situations with USC, but this is a big thing for him. So we'll see if they can overcome that. Let's see here. We got another comment here from another viewer. Riley lost the locker room. Check it. The guy's over his head. Don't know about that. Oklahoma is a big time program. He's able to take them far, and they were able to get to the playoff. He's had Heisman Trophy winners. He's had some great moments at Oklahoma. He had a great moment last year with USC. So I don't think one bad year. I'm going to go with the framework of, Coach B said this is a sign of things to come. I think it's just a blip on the radar for him. I think they turn around in the transfer portal. I think they turn around in recruiting. I do think that they are going to be a good team as long as he's here. I mean, he's been a good head coach for a long time, and this is the first really bad year that we've seen Lincoln Riley have. Walter is back, and he says, "You're not talking to Scaly." Scaly is the defensive coordinator of Utah, so we're not talking to him. And USC does not run a air raid. Stop talking and stop talking and stop saying this. So just like a guy like John Gruden, Mike Shanahan, and everybody like that, they don't run the West Coast offense the same way that Bill Walsh did. They run a variation of it. There are a lot of concepts in Lincoln Riley's offense that are air raid, are very air raidable, if you will. They are part of the air raid. So those concepts do exist. He has changed it. He likes the GT counter stuff with the pulling guards and all this stuff like that make it a little bit different. So, but there are some aspects of it. He grew up in it. Do they run a full air raid? No. So I don't know if I said they run. I said that I know I've said that they do run air raid, and Jimmy Lake doesn't like the air raid, and Jimmy Lake is one of the quote unquote candidates, if you will, for the head coaching position. So everybody thinks who right now he's working with the Rams. I don't necessarily say that. I think he definitely runs some concepts and some pieces of his offense will always be ingrained a little bit with some air raid stuff as well. And we got Freeman Reed 5228. He says that Lincoln Riley is the false prophet, partly truth, partly fiction, a coaching contradiction. Enjoy. So sounds like he might be an Oklahoma fan. So we'll see if how that goes. I think he's properly rated. I don't think he's overrated or underrated. I think he's properly rated. I think he needs to. This is a big. Listen, when Alex Grinch was actually a defensive coordinator candidate, he was a hot name. He wasn't just somebody who they just pulled out of their ass to go hire. He was a hot name. So let's just see if they can get a real name here as far as the defensive coordinator goes. Right now, it's on a Wednesday, the 29th. I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. Hopefully this gets done before. I think you want to do it tomorrow. Will probably be the best day. I was trying to hold out. It's been 7 days since I did a show. Been trying to hold out for a while as far as like doing a show. I kind of wanted to do it with the defensive coordinator in tow, if you will. It has not happened yet, so we'll have to see what happens as far as that goes. The opportunity is there. I mean, Jimmy Lake is available. He's working for the Rams right now. They got to see if they can talk to him. Also, they got to be able to talk to Jim Leonard, who is an analyst. So, they couldn't talk to him and any college guys until the regular season game was over. So now that some of these regular season games are over, you're seeing the coaching parallels. Trent Bray gets the job at Oregon State. The Oregon State coach John Smith goes to Michigan State. So a lot of influx of Pac-12, the former Pac-12 going into the Big Ten. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. It's a big moment for the I won't say the franchise, basically a franchise, but for the school and for everybody involved with USC. It's a big hire. It's not like Jim Cohen and Lincoln Riley. This is a very private thing. It's very difficult to. Nobody really has a beat on it really because they're very private. That circle that's talking in Los Angeles right now about bringing in a defensive coordinator is very tight knit. Like they are not talking to nobody. So I mean, usually you get like a little pieces here and there from some people who are at SC. From what I hear, people who used to be in the know, who used to say, "Hey, do you know anything?" Like you used to talk to them and say, "Do you know anything?" Now they're talking to people in the media saying, "Hey, do you know anything?" So it's not really. I mean, and that's the way. I mean, that's the way they want it. That's the way it should be. When we really break it down, it really should be that way. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. There's still no news about it, and hopefully you would like to. Ideally, this is an opportunity for SC to get people from the transfer portal. Talk to their present players who still have eligibility left on the defensive end, who they might want to keep. Hey, this guy's coming in, like all those things like that. I mean, Leonard does run a defense that you need a lot of big men up front for, and USC and West Coast teams have usually had a problem with getting those kind of guys. So that would be something that you have to see. You've heard people who say things like, "Hey, so and so and so and so." He doesn't like, he wants to clean house defensively, and Lincoln Riley's fighting to keep some names there. I like I said, if you know that, good for you, because then you probably know who the next defensive coordinator is. But it's really a tight situation as far as like tight lip situation to see who is going to be the next defensive coordinator for USC. So some news: Jalil Muhammad has said he's coming back to SC. One of the best pass rushers, and I think he was one of the most I was one of the most frustrated people watching him play in Alice Grinch's defense, because here is a guy who has bend, who has speed off the edge, who has multiple moves, has a pass rush plan on third down and long, and third and long, and how many times did I see a guy like Muhammad drop back in coverage? I mean, like drop back, or like why are we seeing Muhammad drop back in coverage so repeatedly? It was so frustrating to see. You get him to come from from where he came from in Georgia all the way to SC. You got a guy like him with his build to go rush the passer. So now, hopefully, with him coming back, new defensive coordinator, he's showing faith in the process that USC has right now as far as getting a new defensive coordinator. So that's going to be fun to see. That's always good to see that he's doing that. He could have went to the NFL or left. He's come back for one more year, and now he has an opportunity to maybe get on a team where he is going to rush the passer repeatedly. And in the fourth quarter, we always talk about the fourth quarter pass rush, whether it's high school football, college football, and pro football. The fourth quarter pass rush is actually huge for the team. And the guy who liked that tweet was Kalen Bullock's. Now, that would be I don't think Kalen Bullock would be back. I would be surprised if Kalen Bullock came back, but if they could somehow get Kalen Bullock to come back, that would be something special. Now you're talking a little bit of a wholly different kind of defensive unit if you can get Kalen Bullock to come back and be a safety in a real defense, and with a real defense with a real individual who knows how to call defensive plays, all those things like that. That would be really cool to see him come back. But I fully expect Kalen Bullock to kind of enter the NFL draft. He's like slated right now to be a second to third round pick. I think if you watch Monday Night Football this week, you saw Mekhi Blackton and his ability. So he's a guy who they did have some talented players in that secondary. Hopefully, he makes the right decision for himself as far as that goes. Like I said, we spoke about the defensive coordinator. Right now, for me, it's like it could be a lot of different people, but I mean, Jim Leonard is probably on the top of everybody's list. I think Jimmy Lake is another guy who could be at the top of people's list as well. The whole you heard me and Coach B talk about Dave Miranda. We didn't think he was going to get fired this year. He's in a long-term deal. He didn't get fired. He's going to take over the defensive play calling at Baylor now, so he's definitely going to be a guy who's going to be who's not available. Also, Trent Bray's not available as well because he took the Oregon State job. As far as that goes, Willie Brown, who I'm a big fan of Willie Brown. I think there's a couple of things I would definitely kind of want to harp on Willie Brown to do when he's on the field. I think sometimes when he gets on the field, he kind of goes sideways a little bit too much. If he can just go up the field and make that first move, maybe 4 or 5 yards up the field instead of like in the backfield, that would serve him well. But he is not a wide receiver in my mind. He's a running back, and I really feel like that's where we should have known that things were going to go awry with him and his tenure, his time at USC. Modern day, just a really, really talented player, 4-star recruit. We like him a lot on the show. I always have a soft spot for scatbacks. And he could be one of the really good ones. I'll be interested to see where he goes. Oregon could be a possibility. I mean, Washington could be a possibility. Who knows where he wants, if he wants to stay out west, if he wants to go somewhere else. Should be interesting to see where Willie Brown goes. I fully expect him to, when he enters that portal, to go somewhere else and just get more burn. I mean, he could be the one guy. I mean, the guys who left last year, Raylan Goforth, who I know he started, but he wasn't like a huge impact player or like a mind-boggling impact player. Kyle Ford left. He didn't really just set the world on fire going to UCLA last year. Their offense was putrid unless they were playing USC, of course. So it is what it is. So you win some, you lose some. Who knows when you go? And then I would say take a deep breath at some of the players who you think might be coming back to as well, because let's be real, like when you go 7-5, you can't sit there and hold your nose and say, oh, everybody's coming back. Then there could be some surprises at SC where some guys leave, and I wouldn't be totally shocked if some of those guys left USC. A guy like Marshawn Lloyd did say that he should, I think he tweeted out a picture of his Senior Bowl invitation, so he could be going as well. I'm not so much worried about running back. I think they'll find running backs in the portal, and they also have a good stable of running backs in their team with the team now. I think it's really about, for them, it's about offensive and defensive line. I mean, in the portal this year, and we'll kind of go over next episode of some of those names to kind of look for on December 4th to see where USC is going to be as far as getting somebody in the portal, because they really do need somebody in the portal. I think last thing, UCLA is going to keep. I think they're making a huge mistake, but I'll let UCLA make that mistake. Keeping Chip Kelly. If they had lost to SC, they probably would have. I mean, like that one SC game could not have changed their minds. It looks like it did change their mind. That's not a good look for them. They should have moved on from Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's career should be working in TV. Like, he's just not going to ever turn around that team, and they're going to really struggle in the Big Ten. And whatever happened with Dante Moore this year was a mess. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. And then Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner. Really, one could quite possibly be the first pick in the National Football League's draft, with the Bears holding that pick right now. I would say he has said it's a game time decision. He's going to take his time to really make his decision on when he has to declare and everything like that. We just have to be patient for it. I mean, obviously, if he comes back, then we don't really care about Miller Moss or Malachi Nelson. If I was Malachi Nelson and Miller Moss, I would get ready to play in the bowl game. I would definitely get ready to go in a bowl game, because I think SC is definitely going to have those guys playing in the bowl game. They're definitely going to be has to be ready to go as far as that goes. And I just feel like it just makes the most sense for him to go. I definitely, we all know how much we love his ability and what he's brought to USC on this program. USC fans love Caleb Williams. I mean, especially when you see some of the stuff he's done with his Caleb Cares Foundation. The kid's just a good kid. I mean, he's just a good kid, and we wish him all the luck in the world in the National Football League. And he just was a victim of I just felt like his head coach wasn't aggressive enough to get him where he needed to go. And I think part of this defensive issues, while they didn't have a lot of depth, they didn't have a lot of, things like that. They did have a situation where they just didn't have a head coach who wanted to part ways with a friend. And I think if he parted ways with Alex Grinch when he should have, USC could have at least had something to play for this weekend, instead of that, because they were just so bad defensively. I mean, they were just so bad defensively. It was just like 4 or 5. I mean, plays that should have been 4 or 5 yard plays ended up being like touchdowns for 70 yards, and that's just not good football, no matter how you say it. So we're all waiting. We're all twiddling our thumbs. We're all checking Twitter, checking all our updates and the notifications to see when USC will hire a defensive coordinator. And that myself, that Evan Desai, that Coach B will all be here. All the contributors and myself will be here. We're ready to kind of hear what you want to say. Like, I mean, like, leave in the comments. What do you want as a defensive coordinator? Next episode, we did comments. This episode, we'll do questions. Next one. So if you have questions, let's go. We're here for you on the Student Body Right USC podcast. And then DM me, DM the show, text the show. All that stuff is in the bio right below. DM me, text me, and then we'll get you some t-shirts and stuff like that as well. I'll give you you send the dough, I'll send the shirt. I mean, it's really that simple. All right. So as always, Trojan family, Oh, I'm always get messed up with this. Fight on. My big fingers. Fight on.